Lyric or Satiric? Hi, I'm Dave from Boyinaband.
And I'm Dan from Dan Bull.
And today we're doing a very special edition of Lyric or Satiric with a very old school performer, one of the entrepreneurs of hip hop, the pioneers of hip hop, would you say?
I'd say he created the bloody thing.
Yes, he is. It's God with his prolific work, the Bible.
That's this, if you're not familiar with it. It was released
A while ago.
Nearly 2,000 years ago, so it's getting on a bit.
But yeah, it's quite popular, so we thought we'd give it a go.
So for those of you that aren't familiar with Lyric or Satiric, what we do is we each take 5 lines from a well-known musical artist, and we each invent 5 lines that sound like it should be by that musical artist, and we take turns to guess whether each other's lines
are lyric or satiric.
Hence
It's
the
in the
title.
name.
After all this, the Lord afflicted Jehoram with an incurable disease of the bowels. In the course of time, at the end of the 2nd year, his bowels came out because of the disease, and he died in great pain.
God, that's pretty horrorcore. I don't think that he would have put the 2 years. I reckon that you were trying to be weirdly specific with the 2 years.
What about the fact that his bowels came out?
I think that's feasibly in the Bible, but the 2 years thing, no.
Do you think it's satiric?
Yes, it's satiric.
It's lyric!
God damn it!
Just to clarify as well, God basically gave someone a horrific case of bowel cancer because, I don't know why actually, but
Okay.
I wouldn't really wish that on anyone, would
No,
you?
that's...
Not even someone you really weren't that fond of.
Maid slaves, if your master hath forced himself upon you, you shall please him with deference.
That basically means rape, doesn't it?
Well, that's the implication, I suppose.
So if your master tries to rape you, then get on with it. I think that's probably in the Bible. Is it real? Is it lyric?
It is satiric!
Aww.
I just came up with a nice little rapey one there to start off.
Oh dear. Right, that segues nicely into my next one.
Okay.
For you. Slaves, I say unto thee, that when your master beats ye, ye should be thankful for his kindness unto you. It's basically what you said, but beating instead of raping.
I think that is lyric. I reckon that he said that.
It's satiric.
Is it?
Yeah, I made it up.
Because I found a line that was practically that, and I thought you were reading the same line.
Maybe I made it up and it's actually in there. That's feasible as well.
He took his armies and raided all their houses, burned down their cities, killed all the men and raped all the women who have not lain with a man, killed young children and slaves, and looted the city with his cronies. Does that sound like something God would say?
Well, yeah, it definitely does sound like something God would say. Cronies is not a word that would appear probably in the King James version, but then there's numerous more modern translations that use more colloquial words. Maybe you used one of those. Did you put in the word cronies to throw me? Cronies to throw me. I think that you put cronies in because you wanted me to think that you wouldn't have put the word cronies in. I think that's satiric.
It's satiric, damn it. You were correct, I did put it in to throw you.
Let them know that he who kills his neighbour shall be put to death, unless his neighbour has not been circumcised.
I don't believe that. I don't think God would be that unjust and ridiculous. I think it's satiric.
It is, it's satiric.
Yes! No man whose testicles have been crushed or whose organ has been cut off may become a member of the assembly of God.
I think that is lyric because it's one of the ones that I have here as well. I think that should be counted as a draw because if I'd read mine out first...
Yeah, then I would have got the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
If your right eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away.
I thought you were going to say gouge it out and throw it in the bin. Well, I don't think that he'd request you to gouge specifically your right eye out.
Why not specifically? It's the kind of thing that happens.
He does sometimes say unusual specific things, but no, I think he'd probably be like saying if your eyes see sin, then you gouge both of them out. I don't think he'd specify the right.
It's actually lyric.
Seriously?
Not only that, but that's attributed as an exact phrase that Jesus instructed us to do.
Using force to get a point across is like a castrated man trying to rape a young woman.
It sounds like something from Proverbs, which is full of proverbs.
Funny that.
But you may have already seen some other proverbs, and that's odd. A castrated man trying to rape. The Bible's full of castration and rape, so I reckon that's probably lyric.
You reckon?
Yeah.
It is lyric. Well done.
Ah. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, his wife and children, his brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. If you don't hate everyone around you and yourself, you can't be his disciple.
Nah, that can't be right. That can't be right. Jesus wants everyone to love everyone. I do believe you.
It was lyric.
Holy crap. Children of Israel, you may plunder 3 oxen from each of the households you enter, but do not plunder 4 oxen.
Oh, God. I think God would give more leeway to Israelites pillaging their neighbours, and
You reckon?
he wouldn't put any kind of sanction on the amount of oxen that they could plunder, so I think you invented that to be weirdly specific.
You are correct.
Yes.
I'm satirical with that
If
one.
it was in the Bible, there wouldn't be any restrictions.
Way more oxen.
Take all the oxen you want. And Jesus placed his palms upon the crone's breasts, and lo, they became fat with milk.
Jesus has done some pretty horrific stuff already that I didn't expect of him. You focused on Jesus, haven't you?
Has he ever placed his palms on a crone's breasts, though?
You think you'd remember
And
something like...
inflated them with milk?
Nah, I reckon that if you'd done that, that would be more popular than the frickin' parting of the waters. That's satirical.
Yeah, it's satirical.
These were the spoils which remained of the plunder taken by the fighting men. 675,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and as for persons, 32,000 young women who had no intercourse with a man.
From my experience of reading the Bible, God is really into his plundering and allowing the Israelites to plunder, as we mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that God really enjoys listing large numbers of things unnecessarily. So that ticks all the right boxes for having been in the Bible. I think that's a genuine Bible line. Lyric.
It is lyric.
Yes.
God damn it.
The blasphemer was tied by his limbs between 4 wild asses that pulled against the rope until his bowels stained the dirt, and the Lord was satisfied.
The reason I think that's satiric is because you put "and the Lord was satisfied," and I think you did that to make it a bit more aggressive.
There are
Yeah.
similar things in the Bible to that.
There are.
It's actually by me though. Yes, satiric.
A woman that does not defer to her husband is as useful as a lame oxen.
I've read similar lines to that in the Bible, so I think it's one of them. I think it's lyric.
It is satiric.
Oh, that leads nicely on to mine.
Okay, here we go.
Right. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as constant dripping on a rainy day. Stopping her complaints is like trying to stop the wind or trying to hold something with greasy hands.
Now, I've noticed one thing about the Bible is they will say a selection of metaphors that it's like this or this,
Not just one.
not just one. So I reckon that's lyric.
It's lyric.
Yes.
Well done.
You must have accurate and honest weights and measures, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Rape and slavery is cool, but do not screw someone over by saying this is a kilogram when it's not.
Again, I think you wouldn't have wasted one of your opportunities by creating a boring thing about weights and
You
measures.
don't think I think that was freaking weird enough to include?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think you saw it. You didn't invent it. I think it's from the Bible. You just saw it and thought that's going in.
That's pretty much what happened. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
No man shall wear clothing that has been touched by a woman who is not his wife. If a maiden should touch his clothes, she must be flayed and the clothes burnt.
Nah, that can't be right, because God wants the women to make the clothes for the men.
You think it's satiric?
I think it's satiric.
It's satiric.
Yeah. The Lord answered, "Bring to the centre of the city a she-goat, 3 pigeons, and a young oxen of pure blood. You will sacrifice them to the Lord, and the Lord will protect you and deliver your enemies to you."
Everything you said, I just pretty much believe all of it would be in the Bible because it's so similar to the stuff we've seen. Lyric.
You reckon lyric?
Yeah.
It's satiric.
Oh, silly me. Obviously, God's far cleverer and wiser than us, so we're probably in no position to criticise this stuff.
It's
because-
probably a metaphor.
Well, yeah, but how do you decide what's a metaphor and what isn't? Oh, I know. If it's been disproven by science, it's a metaphor. Or if it goes against all common morality, it's a metaphor. But if you've got a bit of leeway there, science hasn't disproven it yet, then it's the word of
Literal.
God. It's literal. Yeah, that's how you know whether something in the Bible is a metaphor or whether God really meant it, because he didn't really mean everything in the Bible, apparently, according to modern
More
Christians.
theocracy.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad we've sorted that out. So cheers, guys, for enjoying that. We don't have to force it to enjoy it. We're on God.
Hope you enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly sort of did, in a frightening way.
We've put together a violent horrorcore rap made entirely out of lines from the Bible over on Dan's channel, and you can click on his face to go check that out. So, cheers for watching and have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh dear, we're going to get in trouble for that.
Yeah, we are.